At the Hemophilia Federation of America's 2015 Symposium, NCHS and BelieveLTD brought together our next installment of the Powering Through Live Speaker Series, this time featuring Paralympic record holder Lacey Jai Henderson and community member, singer, songwriter, and actor Trevor Martin.
Lacey Henderson is a Paralympic record holder. How many record holder, can you define what these records are and what the Paralympics are? Because it is a word that sometimes takes a second for people to catch, right?
The name itself, Paralympic, actually stands for parallel to the Olympics. So it was designed for people with just physical disability. So ambulatory athletes, including amputation, visual impairment, cerebral palsy, and then there are also spinal cord injuries, which involves wheelchair racing.
I can't be the only person who thought it had something to do with paralyzed, right?
That is a common misconception.
Good.
I thought that when I started Paralympics as well. There's a bunch of different categories based on disability, and in my particular instance, I'm an above-the-knee amputee, so my categories, I don't know why they're based off numbers, but I would be a TF42.
What is TF?
Track and field. I'm the American record holder for long jump, and thank you. I'm also right now the American lead in the 100 meters, and I hold the world record in Paralympic pole vault as well, which is kind of cool.
How do you train for pole vaulting versus running versus jumping? We're using muscles very differently. Are you compromising your ability to excel at one versus another by trying to do multiple events like that, or not so much?
Some of them get kind of pushed to the side depending on U.S. Paralympics funding.
Okay.
On what's a little bit more important to them. So right now, pole vault has kind of taken a back seat for me, even though it's how I started. But right now for my category, through U.S. Paralympics, I'm primarily a long jumper. And the beauty of the 100 meters and long jump is the training goes together very well because it's just speed and power, and then you do technical development for jump. So they do go hand in hand, but pole vault and long jump is just different enough that kind of one has to take the back seat depending on if it's a world championship year, if it's a Paralympic year, or if it's an open year.
And then what is your day-to-day like right now?
Basically, I wake up, make sure you have a good breakfast. It's kind of, the same food, different day at this point in my life. Gotta usually write most of what I eat down just to make sure you know kind of where you're at in training and how you're feeling, and you can kind of track. If you're having a lethargic day or something, you can track back to how much you slept, whatever you ate. So have, a normal breakfast with no carbs and just eggs and a lot of protein. Head to the track. I'm usually at the track from 9:30. I'll get treatment or acupuncture before. Have a track workout. Probably get done around 12:30 or 1. Head to the gym. Have an Olympic lifting day, so a lot of plates, a lot of snatches. Contrast in the tub. Get done around 3:30. If I need extra treatment, head back home. Crash for at least an hour, have a nice little nap.
I can relate to that part. We got lunch and crashing.
All about the nap life. Cook something for dinner, probably around hopefully anytime before 7:30, and then crash again. Once I hit if I make it to the double digits, it's a good day for me.
Is that right?
Yeah, so I'll try and have a little Epsom salt bath, catch up on my Seinfeld, and pass out at 10 o'clock and do the same thing.
Wow.
So Monday through Saturday.
So obviously you don't have hemophilia, Trevor, you do. Can you talk a little bit first just about your experience with hemophilia A or B, mild, moderate, severe?
Yeah, I have severe hemophilia A, and it's actually been one of the things that has been on the back burner for me for a long time. It's always a priority. I do my shots, every other day, like many of you I'm sure do.
When you say on the back burner, do you mean that it's just become routine, or?
Yeah, it's a routine now. It's just something that I understand I have to do, and it now takes, about 10 minutes to just knock it out in the morning.
Right. You are a senior in high school.
I'm a senior in high school, that's right.
And having to field the most annoying question, I'm sure, from everyone all the time, which is what happens in the fall? Where are you going to school? What are you going to do? So we have a nice number of people here who can get it all done at one time. So tell everybody so no one asks you again.
Yeah, my plan is to go to either Belmont University in Nashville, Tennessee, and pursue commercial music with a business minor, or I'm going to go to Western Kentucky University, which is where I'm from, in Bowling Green. So, and I'll get some music experience there. Just trying to find every scholarship I can, and make it as easy as possible for my family, so that I could go there.
When did you first start playing music? How did music come into your life?
I was 8 years old, and I did a show called Motown Madness, which had a bunch of Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie, Jackson 5, songs like that. But I did it with one of the real prestigious orchestras in my town. They're called Orchestra Kentucky. The most professional singers in Bowling Green and in our area sang on the show. And I had to audition a couple times, but I sang "I Want You Back" by the Jackson 5. I was 8 years old and performed for a crowd of about 800 to 1,000 people, back-to-back nights, and that was pretty special for me. At the end of the song, I got a standing ovation, which was pretty cool. And at that point, I was just like, man, this is fun. I want to do this for a while.
Now, in terms of the hemophilia, when you were a kid, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, do you have target joints? Were there particularly troublesome areas? Did you ever have to miss an extended period of school? Were there any big challenges because of the hemophilia?
Some people really struggle with hemophilia, but I've never had a target joint, and I've never had any excessive bleeds. I've always stuck true to my prophylaxis through the help of my parents. So I've been very careful, and I still play sports. I'm very active, all-star player for the Church Basketball League, Flamingos.
Flamingos, we're all familiar with Flamingos.
I mean, I'm no Paralympic, yeah, I'm no Paralympic world record holder, but I am an all-star.
The fact that you're a senior in high school, extremely active, and don't have a target joint, it sounds like you don't have many breakthrough bleeds or spontaneous bleeds, that's a testament to self-care and to your own accounting for your life and to your parents raising you really well, and that's something to be proud of.
Yeah, I'm very.
Lacy, going back, so you were born as not a Paralympic qualifier. You had all 4 limbs.
Yeah,
So
there's no category.
there was no TF 140.
Call them ABs, the able-bodied,
And so take us through what happened. What changed in your life?
Okay, when I was 9, I was kind of struggling a little bit. I was having some limping. I was telling my parents my leg had been hurting. I was always active, so we thought either it was a sports injury or growing pains, whatever. You don't really think that much into a little kid that's just complaining about their leg bothering them. Fast forward, I got an MRI, and the MRI revealed a light bulb-shaped tumor in my leg, caged in my kneecap. So when I got a biopsy, it turned out that I was diagnosed with what's called synovial sarcoma, and it's a soft tissue cancer. At the time, I was the rarest case of this, so I was put on experimental chemotherapy trials.
This was like nationwide,
This
you were the
is-
rarest case? Or?
Yeah,
In the world.
I've always been international.
Stupid question.
But I was put on experimental chemotherapy trials because at the time nobody had seen this aggressive of a tumor in such a young kid, especially as a soft tissue cancer, and the location of it was just a really rare combination of things. And I ended up having less than 1% tumor kill because I come from such an active family. Amputation was not really an option. It was 99 when I was diagnosed, 99, 2000. You didn't see a lot of amputees being active. You just didn't really, hear it or think about it. If it's not in your life, you just don't really think about one-legged people doing stuff.
They said it wasn't an option, but was it something that was presented? Like once you found out, and they said we had less than 1% tumor kill. What does that mean in layman's terms?
So it means the chemo wasn't working
Okay.
against the cancer.
So once that was the case, was it presented like amputation?
Well, it was always in the picture when I was diagnosed. They wanted to amputate right away, and we were like, no thanks, no thank you.
And when you say we're, I know you were young at 9.
Yeah.
You said? How much was your voice a part of? How strongly did you feel?
I was 1,000% against it. I think at the age of 9, and I know this is a weird thing to say, but I always think like it was the perfect age for something like that to have happened to me, because you're old enough to understand like the gravity of situations, and you're old enough to understand what's going on, but at the same time you're still young enough that you don't have like weird emotional body baggage with you, and like you still have the concept of like being sick and then getting better. Like it's never being sick, I'm going to die from this.
Right.
We talked about death, and like it had been a conversation.
You guys had talked about
But
it.
it's just like, I'm like, well, that doesn't fit with my schedule, so.
I'm trying to wrap my mind around. Now, at 8 years old, we were on stage playing in front of 1,000 people, and I was trying to figure that out. Now I'm trying to figure out at 9 when you're presented with life and death in a very tangible way. Do you have recollection of what that was like?
When I got diagnosed, my mom sat me down and she's like, you know what, do you want us to only tell you do you want us to only tell you the not scary parts, or do you want to know? And I just figured even at 9, I was like, you know what, it's my body, I should probably know what's going on with it. So, I don't know, I think when you get diagnosed with something so serious, you kind of you're kind of calm in like the midst of the chaos, because there's really no other way to react. By my third round of chemo, I was starting to have signs of permanent kidney damage. I had some liver failure and my colon collapse. I was having a lot of issues from chemo.
And we're how long into this process now?
This was 3 months in.
Okay.
But I was, typically people are on chemo for a couple hours a day and they get unplugged to go home. I was on chemo for 24 hours a day for 8 days continuously. And so yeah.
For 3 months.
It was crazy. Yeah, it was absolutely crazy. So it just trashed my immune system, and it was trashing, and my organs were failing. My doctors were awesome. They were really transparent, and they were like, listen, you're an active kid. The best way to get back to being active, to playing sports, is amputation. The chance of your tumor coming back is slight. We can't continue chemotherapy because it's killing you. And I think at that point, too, it's like I was just so tired of being sick. I was tired of missing school that I was ready. Like, I was just ready to get this cancer up out of me and get on with my life. So we did the amputation 3 months after my diagnosis. Did one more round of chemo, and we kind of, held our breath. But I've been in remission for 15 years, which is cool.
Yeah.
I just had my
That's incredible. That's really incredible. All right, I'm going to pause you there real quick. And Trevor, you have a beautiful voice. You're a very talented musician, but you also write music. When you're writing, you sit down to write, what motivates you? What are you working through when you write?
Well, there's a lot of different factors. When I started writing, it was for obviously a girl, so that gives me a lot of motivation to try to write a song. To maybe one day I'll write this amazing song and she'll just fall in love with me or something because it's so beautiful.
Sure.
But unfortunately, that did not work. She did not like my music, so that was.
Did you go like serenader?
Yeah. We'd go, out somewhere, and then, I mean, we were friends, but I'd get the, oh, that was good, What? Fortunately for me, there's been a couple of opportunities that I've had to write songs for some Christian songs, and there's one movie project that I did, and it's called The Unmiracle, and they asked me to write a theme song for their movie, and they said, hey, we kind of want the effect of someone that's always alone and they feel like they're the only person, they have no one to go to, no one to relate to. So I wrote a song for them. It's called Alone, and that was in their movie, and it's on their trailer, and it's actually on iTunes. I have 4 songs on iTunes, so if you want to check me out, it's Trevor Martin. TrevorMartin, that's me.
What in your life has brought about a level of maturity that is different than a lot of people your age?
I've always kind of worked with really prestigious people, I guess, and people that are very serious about what they're doing, very professional. So, I've kind of looked at them and told myself, hey, these guys are the ones that are making it in the stuff that I want to make it in. So if I want to make it, then I need to be like them. But the maturity, that's behind closed doors. I'm a regular 18-year-old guy.
Sure, but that's an excellent point, though. That's an excellent point. It's that focus of, this is what I want. That's someone who has a version of what I want. How are they behaving? What are they doing? And using that model. Behind closed doors, hey, we're all human beings, but it's that drive towards something that I think can help bring out the best in any of us, really.
I'm saying this to you guys because I am at a hemophilia event, but that has also obviously helped a lot for maturity. I mean, when you sit down to do your needle and your infusion, you don't want to act like a fool, because you just want to get this stupid thing over with. Well, not stupid, but
No, we know what you mean.
As a kid.
I think we all know what you mean.
I mean, why do they have to make it so painful as a needle? I mean, why can't they just, take a pill or something? But
one day, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
One day.
My parents have really tried to help me look towards the future, and I think that's been one thing that's definitely been more help than anything, is them showing me how to be a mature person.
You were part of the Stop the Bleeding screening last night. In that, we addressed how in this upcoming season of Stop the Bleeding, we are looking a little bit at the history of hemophilia in this country, including the 80s and the blood contamination crisis. something that I'm sure you're aware of to some degree, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm curious to know, genuinely, has the history of this community at all influenced the way you think or pursue things?
I know a little bit of the background about the medicine, but the community, I've been involved with the community for a long time, just since I've been alive, and it's always been something that's been a lot of fun. Like these events, I mean, they're great. You come here and you meet so many people that have the same thing that you have. I'd like to know more about the history, and I think that's going to be really fun to be able to learn that through the Stop the Bleeding things, which if you guys don't know what that is, definitely check it out, Stop the Bleeding. This guy's great.
You said something earlier that struck me, which was when the discussion of the amputation moved to something that was more seriously being considered, it was partially phrased as you're a very active kid, you want to keep being active, this is your best option. So how soon after were you able to start being as active as you wanted to be? Or what was that process on the other side of the amputation and surgery?
I was fitted with a prosthetic probably 2 months after my amputation. You have to wait for the swelling to go down a little bit. But the best thing to do is kind of jump right into a leg and get more acclimated to it while you're going through the healing process. My dad's a huge athlete. He went to Olympic trials for pole vault, so that's where the pole vault came in. Basically, by the time I was back on 2 legs, I did a couple of physical therapy treatments, but Coach Henderson had different plans. I was in gym class playing basketball, but then running around breaking legs, probably 4 months after being fit with a prosthetic.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was a quick, but a lot of it is like self-volition for sure, and my family was really supportive of everything, and I was just ready. I was tired of being a sick kid, so I was just ready to bounce back and be Lacy again.
Tell us a little bit about the leg, because this is not unique to you anymore, but it's unique to us.
It's very unique to people.
Yeah.
First of all, this is Pinky. It's my newest one. It's hot pink, yeah.
Hi, Pinky.
So this leg actually is a microprocessor, so I don't run and I don't compete in this leg. This leg is my day leg, and basically it has a computer in it. It can read ground forces, ground reaction forces. So if you're going down ramps, if you're going down stairs, it can tell where the ground is pushing back up against the leg, so that it can behave in a way that's safer. That's basically what all the computer legs are for.
And I'm going to ask a lot of really ignorant questions.
That's okay.
So
I work for the manufacturer.
Fair enough. What did you say this is called again?
This is called the C leg.
A C. Oh, that's way easier than whatever you said the first time.
Microprocessor.
Yeah, we're not going to call that. We're going to call it C leg. The C leg. The C leg is able to understand with some nuance the kind of surface you're on. Does that influence? I mean, at what point are you getting sensation that informs you? Or do you get sensation about like where the ground is?
You can just tell sometimes, like going down ramps, going down a step, like if you're going up an incline, you'll feel the ground push back against you, so you can kind of reorient yourself that way.
Okay, and then with the legs that you train is it one different kind of leg, or are there different like once again pole vaulting versus sprinting? Do we have different kind of legs for these?
I've simplified my life now, and so I just wear one running leg. I have just a mechanical hydraulic knee and one of the a carbon fiber foot that looks like the blades that a lot of people are familiar with.
Yes, and why are those what you run in as opposed to say the C leg?
So the microprocessor is a little bit heavier. The build itself is like, I think the unit's like 3 to 5 pounds, and for running legs, for anything you want to be active in, the lighter is the better, just because it doesn't exhaust your body as much. And also the microprocessor, because it's reading things 50 times per second, it can also like overheat like a car.
Okay.
So if you're going too fast, you might overheat your hydraulics.
Wow. You seem like the kind of person that would want to test that out.
Oh, absolutely. This guy goes in for servicing more than a lot of legs do.
Yeah, I imagine that it's not the cheapest thing in the world.
No, it's not. But
Wait, stay with that. That's an interesting subject.
Yeah, like insurance and reimbursements and cost. So that's something that we
everybody's worst nightmare.
we talk a fair amount about that here in the hemophilia
You guys do
community.
that too.
Yeah, the ACA has also changed some things, and our factor I take somewhere in the vicinity of $600,000 to $700,000 of factor every year just for my baseline. And you're on a pro fee schedule. It's somewhere in the 6 digits. I'm sure for you, Trevor, obviously we're not making that kind of money, but there's a lot of issues with insurance companies around access, and especially now that pre-existing conditions are no longer legally allowed to be a reason to bar someone from insurance. Insurance companies are having to deal with us at a rate that they didn't have to before. What has your experience been, especially in the last few years? I think this is going to be good. There's a twinkle in the eye.
I mean, just having cancer in general is a special kind of treat with insurance companies. The prosthetic world is very interesting. My first leg ever, I was approved for a prosthetic leg. It's just a fun story. I was approved for a prosthetic leg. I was not approved for a prosthetic foot to go on the leg, so I had to get a medical necessity letter from my doctor.
Because their plan was. Continue.
Basically, you can get a leg covered. A lot of times, only mechanical legs would be covered. So I don't know, I started babysitting for my attorney when I was 12, and we have a really good relationship now. Every time I get a denial, that I always got somebody on board. But it's hard to get things approved. It's hard to get things to get paid for.
And this is just for like.
This is for a life leg. Yeah, I mean, so microprocessors are slowly becoming the norm. The fun thing about the C leg in particular is it's the most widely studied and reviewed leg in the world. It's easier to get it covered because there's so much scientific backing that it is safer for the user. It's better for geriatric patients. It's just better overall for safety, which is the biggest key when you're trying to get things paid for through insurance in the prosthetic world.
I don't mean to be like condescending, but you don't have to be a Paralympic athlete,
yes.
right? Like, so how are those legs and reimbursements for your...
Those are not covered through insurance.
And they're not covered for anybody who competes?
No. So if you have a good relationship with the manufacturer, typically, there's a lot of different foundations too, nonprofits through the ONP world that will fundraise and also donate running legs to people that show interest, that show potential.
Okay.
But it is definitely an interesting journey of grant writing and asking and begging and making good relationships to get those covered. And they blow out quickly also.
Like how quickly?
Like basically any sort of mechanical leg that doesn't have a warranty on it, which is anything without a computer, you will blow through it within a year.
Give us some numbers.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was about to ask. So what are we talking?
So a microprocessor can range anywhere from $50,000 to $120,000, which are usually covered by insurance, especially the higher end ones are military, so that's usually covered under military. A running leg, any sort of sports specific prosthetic could range from, I don't know, $2,000 to $10,000, maybe $15,000.
Okay.
Primarily, if you go through any sort of nonprofit to get a running leg, that's kind of the best way you can get any sort of sports-specific prosthetic.
I do have one other thing I want to ask you, Trevor, and then I'll let you guys ask questions before Trevor sings us the song that we will appreciate far more than she who it was written for.
Well, at least pretend like you like it.
You were saying earlier, because it interests me too, how hemophilia hasn't presented you with the physical and it seems like the psychosocial challenges that it does to many. And yet you really enjoy these events, you really enjoy being a part of the community. So I'm curious, have you given thought to, as you go into college and in the post-college world, how you'd like to be involved?
I enjoy speaking about hemophilia. It doesn't bother me at all. I feel like it'll be good to be able to maybe work for one of the corporations that has to do with hemophilia. I think that would be great to be able to do something like that and just talk about maybe the medicine. That is if singing does not work out, or even a side job along with the singing.
Or after you retire, because you're so sick of the multi-platinum albums and like that whole racket's just run you tired.
Yeah, I heard that gets old after a while.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. All right, I could ask a lot more questions, but out of respect for time, I'm sure that it seems like we have questions or some interest here as well.
So what's your long jump? Please just start.
I'm jumping right now around 14 to 15 feet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Give
a
us
lot of airtime.
What's like a, how old are you? What's your name? Alex. What do people jump in your?
Oh, in your age?
My grade, probably around like 14.
Wow, okay, fantastic. That seems really impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no. So basically based off categories, able-bodied right now, a good jump for a woman able-bodied is around 21 feet. So because I'm missing a knee and a foot, ours are significantly less.
I'm curious about the mechanics of the jump. Are you landing all on your left foot, your healthy foot?
In the long jump, you actually try to land on your rumpus or a little bit on your hip. Basically for long jump, you just try to extend your legs out as far as you can. When you feel yourself going to the ground, try to slide over, get to your hip or your butt so you can really buy as much space in the air as you can.
Is it painful? Is the prosthetics painful?
No, it really, you need it to have a good fit. You need to have a good suspension for sure, especially if you're going to do things as dynamic as running, as jumping. I've had an excellent prosthetist. That's what they're called. That was an interesting word to learn.
Quite a vocab day for
Yeah, at least. I've been with my prosthetist since I lost my leg, and he's just been awesome. I'm one of the lucky few that doesn't deal with a lot of pain. And I'm sure this reflects in the hemophilia community. As a patient of any sort of thing, the closest and the most honest kind of relationship you can have with your provider, you're really going to benefit the best out of it.
All three of you guys are amazing, amazingly inspirational people. That was it. No.
Always welcome.
I know that the road can be incredibly challenging. What kind of support network do you guys have aside from your parents?
There's a real good core group of friends that really push me, and then the people that I've worked with through the healthcare have really always been supportive of not only the fact that I get my hemophilia stuff out of the way, but also my entertainment career. So those have been the people for me.
I think it's important to acknowledge like the emotional effects of having something internally happening to your body. And we all carry different crosses. Mine was cancer, mine's amputation. Y'all's is hemophilia. It was a little country. The more that you kind of celebrate yourself and like you embrace something that happens to you, that had happened to you, but you use it in a way that empowers you instead of disables you, I think that is a great way to kind of move forward on in your life and be motivated and have that inspiration, not only for other people to share with other people, but also for yourself to go after the things that you feel passionate about. And sometimes your support system has to come from inside, which sucks, but it's the truth, and sometimes you can reach out.
I added a 5th tattoo to my left arm just a few weeks ago, and it's an ambigram, so it reads differently in 2 directions. And so if I'm looking at it like so, this way it says struggle, but to you all, if you're looking at it, it says strength. And the reason for this is I had a camper who recently passed away, and he had muscular dystrophy. So his forearms were always visible. And he had that same tattoo right here. And to you, it read struggle, but to him, it read strength. And for him, it was his way of owning what he had wrong with him and turning it into a positive. And on that note, Trevor Martin, it's time for you to entertain all of us with your beautiful voice and incredible guitar skills.
So this is Away with the Wind. You can find this on iTunes. Don't waste my love, don't put it in the trash. So much more is even less. It's crazy what you have. Don't waste my love, don't cast it aside. What do you say? You know I will abide. I want you so bad. I want you, is that so bad? Have you ever wanted something so much that it slipped away? When it's right there in front of you, it's there just in your reach. If you reach out, you can touch it, but it's in your hand, and it goes away with the wind, away with the wind. What happened? Am I trying too hard? I've changed, am I still doing something wrong? I want you oh so bad. And yeah, I want you, is that so bad? Have you ever wanted something so much it slipped away? But when it's right there in front of you, it's there just in your reach. If you reach out, you can touch it, but it's in your hand, and it goes. Have you ever wanted something so much that slipped away? But when it's right there in front of you, it's there just in your reach. If you reach how you can touch it, but it's in your hand, and it goes away with the wind, away with the wind, away with the wind.
Thank you to Lauren and HFA for allowing us to have this Powering Through event here. Thank you to NCHS for continuing to support this program. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you to you guys.
For videos from other Powering Through events, visit poweringthrough.org. If you'd like more information on NCHS, visit their website at nc-hs.com. Or for more information on BelieveDigi, visit BelieveDigi.com.